Hi guys, how's it going? I'm Mr. Soupy, and today I'll be making an introductory guide to the Assassin class on Warlords 2. This guide is meant for players who are new to Assassin and unfamiliar with its abilities or playstyle, so I won't be going over how to play Assassin in the most optimal fashion, rather just small tips to understand the class. So, let's begin with a right click. Judgment Strike, simply right click the target. You have a max of 305 energy, so you can use Judgment Strike 4 times for full energy. But simple damage tool, go up close to your target and strike them. Special thing about it here is, it costs 70 energy by the way. Special thing about it is every fourth strike that you land on an enemy, it doesn't have to be the same one, as long as it's your fourth strike. It's a guaranteed crit, and if you get a critical strike, you can increase your movement speed by 25% for 2 seconds. So, as you can see here, our normal movement speed, speedometer is on the top right. Our normal movement speed is 7.9. I strike my target, got a crit, 8.8. Something people forget about a lot actually, but it's nice and simple ability. Remember to use your speed when you get it. And yeah, next up we have our red ability, Incendiary Curse. Cost 60 energy, base cooldown of 8. It's projectile, shoot it out, looks like that. It's projectile, it's AoE. The AoE radius is actually pretty big. It's forgiving for people who have bad aim. But landed on your enemy, and your enemies become blinded for, I believe, 1.5 seconds. Let's see here. Yeah, 1.5 seconds. No, yeah, that's it. What I recommend is if you, for some reason, use the red skill boost, what it does is it reduces your cooldown for red by 35%, so it makes it about 5 seconds. And it also increases the blind time on it by, I think just 1 second, so I think 2 seconds or 2.5 seconds, right around there. But what I recommend is if you use that skill boost, you want to spam it on enemies as much as you can. Not surprisingly, players play a lot worse when they are blinded. So when you spam it on them and they can't see for a lot of time, they actually start to make a lot of mistakes. Understandably so, because obviously they can barely see anything. But just know that when you use this ability on enemies, especially more than one, it's doing a lot more than you think because the enemy team is blind. So honestly, red skill boost is honestly a good one to use. I use it sometimes for fun, and I actually haven't lost using it yet. I've only used it a few times, but I haven't lost because it's actually very fun. Next up, we have our Shadow Step, our purple ability. It's a base cooldown of 12 seconds. I think I forgot to go, I was supposed to go Shadow Step boost just to make this easier for me. You know what, I'm actually going to do that right now. Alright, so back to what I was doing. Oh, click you joined the lobby. Easter egg, I guess, for the video. Alright, so splitting Shadow Step, it's your purple ability. Base cooldown of 12 seconds. You use the skill boost for it, turns it to 7.2 seconds, which is about 7 seconds. 20 energy cost. It's basically your momentum ability, your movement ability, not momentum. You perform a leap just like that, and this leap has 2 hitboxes on it, one at the start and one when you land, as you can tell by the particles. Clicky distracted me. You can see the one when you start like this. If you hit the enemy with the one that you start with, and you land in the same area with the one that you land with, they're only gonna get hit with one. So there's the landing one, and if I use the so like I was saying, if you use the ability when you're already inside them, you land in the same place, only one hitbox will be registered. But yep, it's your basic momentum ability. There's plenty of ways to use it. There's no specific way, right or wrong way. Use it to approach enemies from afar. Use it to get away from enemies when you're low. Use it to get up some I guess some small hills or something. Like maybe you can get up there. See, I don't think so. You might be able to get up there. Yeah. It's nice to do some parkour strats. Like on Rift, you can do the parkour a lot easier. The one nearby the ramp, do it a lot easier and just leap up to it. But yeah, plenty of ways to use this. Just think of it as a way to move around easier, and just don't let it sit around your hotbar too long because it's valuable. Next up, we have our blue ability, Soul Switch, lengthy cooldown, and I guess a pretty high energy cost for a blue too. But all it is, you switch enemies with the you switch locations with the enemy. You swap them to where you are, and you become you go to where they were. Simple ability, long cooldown, but there's plenty of ways to use this as well. It's not exactly mobility, but you could use it as mobility if you wanted to. For example, if you're approaching the enemy carrier from behind and you need a way to get up to them faster, you can swap one of the teammates that are close to the carrier from behind, and then you'll be right next to the carrier. If you want to swap somebody off of a cliff to make, like for example, the rift cliff, if you're going the rift cliff, if you're going up the rift cliff and you have enemies on your tail, you can jump off, swap with the enemy, and they will be off the cliff and you will be free from the enemy. It's another way to use it. There's plenty of ways to use this. Just another ability. You don't want it to let it sit around too much. You can also use it as an escape. If you see an enemy far away for some reason, you can just swap them in back to the team and you'll be outside. Plenty of ways. Alright, last we have our ultimate ability. Oh, if you use the skill boost for blue, it reduces the cooldown by 2 blocks. Reduces the cooldown by 2 blocks. Reduces the cooldown by half, so it's 50%. So it turns to 15 seconds, and the range is increased by 2 blocks. It's more of a horizontal ability. As you can see, it has pretty decent horizontal range. It doesn't feel like it sometimes because that's mainly because the enemies are running away from you, so it's harder to like get the range off like perfectly. For example, strike range is actually a lot more than you think. I can strike all the way from here, which is kind of crazy. But because enemies are running away from you, a lot of times it doesn't happen, and you feel like you're striking from here. Vertically, this soul swap ability, not very great. I recommend just using it for horizontal purposes. Alright, that's an ultimate. It costs 60 energy to cast. Cooldown 50 seconds. There's a lot of stuff to read here, but it's actually very simple. Once you use it, you become invisible for 8 seconds, 12 seconds if you use the skill boost. While you are invisible, you gain 40% movement speed. You have the ability to mark enemies, any enemy you want, by just touching them. You can use red, you can use blue, you can use a melee hit, or you can use strike, whatever you want to mark the enemy. You have the ability to mark any enemy unlimited amount of times. Marked enemies take 20% more damage. If you hit the enemy from behind with your strike, they take 30% more damage instead. And if you kill your marked target, just one, within the 8 seconds or 12 seconds if you use the ult boost, it refunds the ability. You get it back right away. It refunds a little bit of energy too, I think. Yeah, it refunds the 60 energy. So you get some energy back. It also refunds your shadow step, so it's a good idea to use it before you kill your target. If you assist in killing the target before the time limit, 8 seconds, you get half of your cooldown back. So if your cooldown was sitting at 30 seconds, it would be reduced to 15. And same with this one. And you also get half your energy back too. So half everything. So obviously it's a good idea to kill your target. It's not as punishing if you don't, because kill steals happen a lot more than you think. But you want to just try your best to kill your target within the time frame. This is what it looks like. It leaves behind a smoke trail. It seems pretty noticeable, but in battle you actually don't notice it a lot, because a good assassin will be very sneaky and you will not see the particles in time before they are on you. it's not a good idea to use the ultimate when you are right in front of an enemy. They can stare like dead at your face and they know you're gonna be ulting. It's just not smart because your ultimate will get cancelled. I should mention that if you take about 600 damage, I think, your ultimate will be cancelled and you'll just return to not be invisible. Oh, well, your invisibility will be cancelled, but not your perks. You'll still do 20% more damage, you'll still have 40% movement speed, but you'll be easier to hit because you're not invisible. But yeah, you can do plenty of things while you're invis. Using ult boost is actually a really good idea, and I honestly think ult boost is the best skill boost for assassin. Just my opinion, doesn't mean it is, but it gives sneaky assassins a lot more time to be sneaky. You can, what I recommend is you start, if you want to try and invis, you either blind your target that you're trying to kill before you invis and approach them, or you use shift for a little bit behind the block, make sure the enemy can't see you, and then you activate your invis. And when you are invis behind the block, it's a lot harder for the enemy to see your particles because it's covered by a block, and then you can surprise attack from like the hidden blocks. Another way to be more stealthy. But yeah, a lot of these abilities have a lot of leeway to be creative. The Shadow Step, Soul Switch, and Ultimate 2. That's why a lot of goddess happen on Assassin a lot of times, because they are just very sneaky. They don't get caught, and at the last second it's too late to notice them. But yeah, just a few tips and tricks, mainly tips that I have when you're playing. First, just try to buy enemies. Like I said it before, but it's explain a little bit better. Just try and blind enemies before you approach them. Even without ultimate, it makes it a lot easier. And like I said, it doesn't seem like it's doing much, but the enemy team plays a lot worse most of the time when they cannot see what they're doing. So use your blind a lot, especially before pouncing in on a target. You can wait like a quick second. They don't have to be blind when you're going in on them. You can just use it. Wait a second. They lose their blindness. They can see for a little bit, but they don't actually know where you are, and you are like behind them, and then you pounce on them, whatever you have to do. But yeah, that's just a little way to approach. Second, don't forget you get speed from dumping your strikes. I mean, not dumping your strikes, getting crit on your strikes. It doesn't last very long, so there's not too much you can do with it, but you can maybe like hit and run kind of thing. Hope you get a crit. You can full dump, run away if you need to. Got the crit there, so I can have a little boost running away. But yeah, just don't forget it exists, because I see a lot of times people don't even know it's there. But you do get, speed kind of off cooldown if you're lucky enough. Don't use like stray strikes too much. It's probably gonna hurt you unless you're lucky like that. Last, try and always be on a high amount of energy before you go in for kills, especially if you're ultimate. You don't want to ultimate on like 100 energy, because the ultimate still costs a decent amount. It costs 60 energy. Usually it's not a problem, because when you ultimate, you wait a little bit because you're approaching the enemy while being invis, and then you get your energy back and then you dump. Just make sure you have a higher amount of energy before you go in for the kill. It's okay to just watch your enemy for a little bit, and even if you need to save up energy, it's okay to just watch your enemy. Just wait until you have more energy to go in, and don't be too greedy on low energy, because you'll most likely just get yourself killed that way. You don't have enough energy to back yourself up if you don't get the kill. That should do it. I don't have anything else to say. I'm going through all the abilities. It's pretty simple stuff. Yeah, that's gonna do it for this assassin guide. If you enjoyed this guide or found it helpful, please do leave a like on the video and subscribe if you feel extra generous too, because that really helps out for a new channel like this. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next Puffer video.